all witches will even know this or practice it. But to me, and once again, you can research this, it's known in the ancient knowledge, and you can read the book Hecate Sotera by Sarah Johnston. I will always recommend that book. It's a great book about Hecate and understanding who and what she is, and the roles that she has. But the daemons or the jinn are spirits that are under her control and under her dominion. So absolutely, for me personally, the daemons and the jinn are important to my practice. They're spirits that are under Hecate, under her dominion, and they're intermediaries. Because once again, to refer back to the previous question about Hecate feeling like she's distant, sometimes when you call on Hecate in a ritual or a spell, and you call on her aid, she will not come herself, but she will send another spirit to help you. Like I said, she's the queen, so she has a lot of work to do that's like high profile. She doesn't have time to help every single person personally. She will sometimes, quite often, send other spirits to aid you. And a lot of times it's the daemons or the jinn, or the fairies. In my case, I always see fairies, which also too may be the same thing as the daemons, the intermediaries. I think that some of them are ancestors, but I also think that some of them are something else. And maybe that's the daemons, the intermediary spirits. I don't think that fairies are just one species or one type of entity. I think that there's lots of different ways that we can, what am I trying to say? There's lots of different classes and species and types of fairies. And I think that they overlap with different mythologies. Like when you're talking about daemons and jinn, it may very well be that's the same thing as fairies, or one of the classes of fairies. That's just kind of my personal view and take on it. But I don't think that we have any kind of absolute control over them. I think that we exert an influence in the same degree as we can be engaged in meaningful relationships with other people. I think it's the same with these spiritual entities. You know, we can exert an influence in so much as the capacity of our relationship, but I think that ultimately they have their own free will, and ultimately they are servants to the higher power, just as we are. So if anything, they're controlled by Hecate in that regard. But, you know, like I said, I think that we have an influence. I think that we can request them to do things, or in a case, if they have been sent by Hecate to serve you or to help you, then absolutely you have sort of like a commanding role over them, if they've been sent in that capacity specifically. Or if it's a spirit that has got like out of hand and you're like charging it to leave or banishing it or something, I think you have control in those types of situations as well. Okay, the next question. How often do you or should you break down your altar? And this is from Lynette. And I'm going to pair this with another question someone asked. What do I have on my altar right now? So I'm going to pair those questions together, and hopefully if all goes correctly, I will insert a video of that right now. So this is what is currently on my altar. Basically, I mean, I change it up quite often. So, kind of to answer the other question as well that I had, you know, I break down my altar whenever I feel a spiritual transition in my life. I'll break it down and recreate it. So that's all the stuff I have hanging above my altar right now. And it's just a lot of different things. That's a spell I did a while back at the end of last year in September. And I'm not going to talk about it. But I have that on my altar right now. A dish of salt. A dog skull that I consecrated to Hecate. And a coyote skull that I consecrated to Hecate. A sheep skull. A cat skull. And this deer. It's not a full skull, it's a partial skull. And then the antlers. Because I'm very much into animism and working with bones of animals and stuff like that. Have all of these crystals for energy to just be built up and generated on the altar. This is black quartz, a large citrine, and then a piece of like natural quartz. My little dish with sage and Palo Santo that I burn like daily. Just basically, you know, I break down my altar whenever I feel a spiritual transition. When I'm doing different spells or rituals, which I do quite often because I sell these services. I don't just cast spells for myself or friends or whatever. So I do spells pretty frequently and pretty regularly. And usually what I'll do is, like, I'll use the centerpiece of my altar here, and I'll constantly reorganize it in different ways for the different spell works that I'm doing. And sometimes I will also just rearrange the entire whole altar for certain rituals and spell works. So, you know, basically, as far as like really breaking down my altar, how often do I do that? It's not really like any pattern to it necessarily, to where I can say like how often. It can just variously change randomly. Just whenever within myself I feel like my path is changing, altering, transforming in some way, I will break it down and rearrange it to match or fit with whatever it is that I feel the changes within myself. I will let my altar reflect that in some way or form. So that's basically the answer to that question. By the way, this is a beautiful candle from Akila Noor on Instagram. I'll put a link to her, or not a link to it, but I'll put her Instagram handle. But she makes candles herself, and She has sent me some before, but she sent me this as a gift, and I think it's just beautiful, and the energies are amazing. I'm probably going to burn it soon. I don't really know what's in this or what the intentions are for creativity and passionate energy, but I don't know what's all in it. But I love her candles. She makes them very well, and she puts so much love and attention and energy into them. So I cannot wait to burn this. I know the last one that she sent me was super fucking powerful and amazing. So I don't know if she sells her candles online or if she just sells them there locally. But I'll put her Instagram handle anyway. But she sent me that, and I just got it yesterday. And so I have that here on my altar because I just love the energies. And she also sent me this evil eye bracelet here, which I'm just so thankful for, and I love it so much. My last evil eye bracelet broke last September when I moved back to Texas. I was like literally riding the buses back here, and it broke during my travels, and I think it protected me from someone like giving me the evil eye or something during that journey. So it served its purpose, but I have not had a new evil eye bracelet since then. So I'm so glad that she sent this. Thank you, Jenny, for that. And for the candle, I love it. Thank you so much. But okay, that basically answers that question for y'all. This is what's basically on my altar right now. Okay, how I have it set up. These different things on the shelf as well. And yes, as far as breaking it down, once again, it just really just flows naturally whenever I feel the need to break it down. To me, the altar reflects your inner self, your inner power, your inner witch. And as you evolve and change, rather as I evolve and change, I use my altar as a reflection of that. As a reflection of the powers I'm tapping into, what spirits I'm working with currently, etc., etc. I modify my altar as my path modifies. So that's the answer to that question, to both of those questions actually. And now moving on to the next questions. Okay, and then the next part of this question is, what's my favorite crystals to use that are associated with Goddess Hecate? So no one has asked me that yet before, so I think that's a great question. My favorite crystals to use that are associated with Hecate are, well, my absolute top favorite is labradorite. I am in love with labradorite. It's probably the crystal that I have the most of in jewelry form. This is a labradorite pendant. It has 2 pieces in it. Which this one at the top is like a faceted cut piece. And then this is just like a smooth cabochon. But I am in love with labradorite. It's like my favorite crystal. It's my go-to crystal. Just, I love it. It's my favorite crystal altogether. It's on my bracelet. I just love labradorite so much. And labradorite is an amazing crystal. It's, it facilitates connection to deity and to the higher realms, and to spiritual power, and to magic, and all of that magical, mystical, powerful energy. So I absolutely associate it with Hecate, and I use it to channel those higher energies. So most of my main talismans are labradorite. And it's absolutely my top favorite stone associated with her. It also facilitates on another level psychic abilities and psychic powers as well. Another one of my favorite stones is selenite. I absolutely love selenite. I have a piece right here as well. So if you don't know what selenite is, that's what it is right here. It's a very lunar crystal. It's associated, its name is from the goddess Selene, who is the Titan goddess of the moon. And it's really a crystal of purity. It's cleansing, it's purifying, it's protective. It's all of that positive white light type of energy. And so I associate it with Goddess Hecate once again for that lunar aspect. And it's one of my top favorite crystals as well. It's powerful and it's great. I put it in all of my windows and border it around throughout my whole house as like a barrier. Hang on a second. So, definitely one of my top crystals. Another one is hematite. So, I love hematite. It's one of my favorite grounding crystals and grounding stones. If I ever feel like scattered or anxiety and stuff like that, if I ever get in any kind of situation that's like just making me feel bad or feel off, I love to use hematite to ground and recenter my energies, and it's also healing in that regard as well. And it's another stone that's associated with Hecate. It's a very earthy energy, but at the same time it's very high vibrational and positive and protective and just healing. It's a great stone as well, and it's one of my top favorites as well, associated with Hecate. Another one is black quartz or smoky quartz, and it's protective, cleansing stone as well that's associated with Hecate. I have like a huge crystal of that right here. I love it so much. It's a great stone. I think every witch should have it in their collection. All of the stones that I'm saying right now, I think every witch should have it in their collection. So that's another one of my top favorites. Excuse me. Moonstone, of course, is another one. So this is my moonstone ring. I'm trying to show you all the flash on it. So moonstone is another one that facilitates psychic energy, psychic ability, intuition. It also has that love aspect. Emotional connection. And of course it's associated with the moon as well. So it's another one of my favorites. That I absolutely also associate with Hecate. Let's see what else. My favorite is associated with her. Probably the final one I'll say is garnet, which is this ring here. I know you can't see the red color of it because it's so tiny and also blurry. But it's another one of my top favorites with Goddess Hecate. And to me it represents just that kind of primal magical power, like the energy of blood and life force and ancestors, and that energy of the lineage of blood and that fiery passion of the witch blood and the witch fire and that magic, the kundalini, the serpent fire, that sort of primal, fiery, bloody energy. And I associate it with Hecate as well. Main stones that are associated with Hecate is any black stones, any silver, like hematite, any red stones, and any type of stones that have like a fluorescent thing. Like this is a tiger's eye ring too. So like tiger's eye, moonstone, rainbow moonstone, labradorite, all of those, spectralite, all of those different kind of stones that have that flashy quality are associated with her, because they all have a psychic property that enhances psychic abilities and powers, and they're associated with Hecate for that reason. So that's basically the ones that I associate the most with her. Yeah, and those are my favorites. So I hope that answers your question. The next question is from Kristen. I thought this question was hilarious. What is your biggest pet peeve? So I have a lot of pet peeves. But my biggest one, being as a Gemini, probably stupid people. I said it. I cannot stand stupidity. Like not just plain old ignorance, but like actual like stupidity. Willful ignorance, people who don't even try on their own, like that level of just stupidity, just really, I really can't stand it, honestly. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, if not the biggest. I'll go ahead and list some minor ones as well, though. I don't like when people beat around the bush. I'm a very direct person, and I can also tell when someone wants to say something to me or ask something of me or want something from me, and I cannot stand when they don't just outright say it. I hate when they make a bunch of small talk first, or even just like walk circles around saying what they really want to say it any other way besides actually saying it. Oh, I cannot stand that. I hate it so much. I don't like when people spell the word alter, A-L-T-E-R. I cannot stand that. It is spelled A-L-T-A-R, okay? Like, that's what I'm talking about when I say stupid people. I mean, come on. It's not that hard to know how to spell a word, people. Especially, you know, if it's a word that's like associated with your spirituality and your spiritual practices. Like, come on, learn how to spell the words right. With this, take it serious enough that you care enough to know how to spell the word right. Come on, people. So that's just some of my pet peeves. Hopefully that was entertaining you. Hopefully you were like, oh, me too, or something. But I'm gonna move on to the next question now. The next one is from Brianna, and she says, or she asks rather, do you have any tips on dream recall for those who never remember them? That's a good question. And I always say the same answer to this. Keep a dream journal. That is the most important thing to do. If you really want to get into dream work, get to the point to where you're remembering your dreams in like full, long detail, then you want to start keeping a dream journal and make that your fucking religion, like daily. Do not miss it. Every single day, write in that fucking journal when you wake up. And you have to do it, otherwise it's not going to work right. It's not going to work at all unless you do it. So that also ties into the next question from Debbie, how to do astral travel. Those questions are interrelated, and you won't be able to astral travel until you have good dream recall, and you won't have the good dream recall until you keep a dream journal. It's very important to do it. So make sure that you start doing that if you really want to get into this. And everyone dreams every single night. It's just that sometimes we don't remember it. But what you can do is start keeping a dream journal. You can write down your intentions before you go to sleep. And there's different methods that you can do to try to trigger yourself to have a meaningful dream. And you could easily look that up. There's like so many YouTube videos and articles and things that you can find on Google as well. But I think you will find that if you get like a notebook dedicated to being your dream journal and write down in the first page or something, you know, your intentions for starting to have meaningful dreams, and to record them when you wake up every morning, you will probably most likely have dreams and remember something in the morning. If not immediately the next morning, then within like that week, it will happen. And what you need to do is immediately when you wake up, write down everything that you can remember. Even if it's like the smallest one sentence thing, okay, write that down. Do it. Believe me, just fucking do it. And it will, what will happen is that your dreams will start to increase. Your dream recall will start to increase. So let's say that you write down, let's say that this is your first day and you start the dream journal, you go to sleep, and the next morning you wake up and you're like, all I can remember is, you know, seeing a red door, and that's it. Well, write that down, okay? The next day, you'll wake up and you'll be like, okay, now I remember so-and-so was in my dream and we were talking about something, but I can't remember what we were talking about. Okay, you remembered a little bit more. Write that down, okay? And what will happen is that gradually over time, if not faster, you'll start to remember more and more and more from your dream life. And you'll get to the point to where you're writing like full multiple pages when you wake up of your dreams. So definitely do this. I'm not joking you. It works, and it's definitely the way to do it. And once you get to that point, you will then be able to start to astral travel, because in order to astral travel proficiently, you need to have good dream recall so that you can even remember the astral travel when it happens. So make sure that you do this. Keep the dream journal. Make it your fucking religion. Do it every day. Okay? And then once you get to the point to where you are remembering your dreams very well in detail, you will have created like a new level of your consciousness, really. that's your dream life or your dream world, your dream reality, your dream experience, your dreaming mind. And you will have established that aspect of yourself. And that's an important first step, because then you'll need to do different practices to become conscious while you're dreaming, like fully conscious, and know that you're in a dream. And that is how you start an astral travel from the dream state. There's other ways to do astral travel where you just go directly right into it, but those are more advanced. For the beginner, you'll have better luck doing the dream recall journal thing, and then getting yourself into an astral projection or a lucid dream from your normal dream state. Okay, so try this out and you will see the results. And there's lots of different methods to do astral travel, but once again, like I said, doing it from the dream state is the easiest way that you'll have most luck with if you're a beginner. And it really just comes down to being able to recognize that you are dreaming, being able to be conscious that you're in a dream. And there's no like easy way to get to that point. Like, you just literally have to train your mind to do it and just keep trying. Like, every single night, set that intention and keep trying. And make sure that you have the dream recall thing established first, because that's very important. And keep doing the dream journal. If you stop doing the dream journal, once you have good dream recall, it will start to wane again, and you'll start remembering less and less. So you have to keep doing it every single day, even once you get far into this. But over time, you'll eventually get to the point to where you will be able to make yourself conscious while you're dreaming. And from that point, you'll be able to be in control of what you're doing and where you go and all of the different things that are going on. So that's my advice, simply put, for both of these questions. And then once you get basically good at transitioning from a normal dream state to a lucid dream, to the astral traveling, then you could advance into just going straight into an astral travel. And there's different methods for doing it that way, but once again, you can easily look those up online and stuff. Okay. The next question is again from Brianna. She asked, right hand path versus left hand path. What are the pros and cons of both? So I already covered this in depth in a previous video. I think it was called right hand path versus left hand path. But wait, what about balance? So I did an entire whole video on that. But just to summarize really quickly here, you don't have to view it as verses. Okay, I'm a great witch. I do the light work stuff and the darker work stuff. I do the right hand path and the left hand path. Okay, so you don't have to view it as versus each other. That's just like that's a choice to view it as a polarity or versus. You don't have to view it that way. You can incorporate both of them, both of the ways of doing magic and both of the types of magic in your path. And yeah. So that's just my quick summary on that, but I do recommend you just go watch that entire whole video I did about it.